Managing Sjogren's flares can be exhausting and overwhelming. I have flares every day, but sometimes they can be stronger than others. But flares were very much present, especially after my incident when I went to the hospital and everything, the ER. I didn't know what they were or how to maintain it then, but I remember being so cold and in pain. I sat in my son's recliner, and he had a recliner massage chair with some blankets, and he had an electric heater I sat next to. That's how cold I was. I was freezing, and no one else in the room was. Some flares are just less than others sometimes. I may have just have itchy, dry skin, and I can pretty much deal with that. That's easy. One thing for sure is this disease can rob you of your moisture. Okay, the flares I have experienced are profound, extreme tiredness, joint pain, especially in my knees, muscle pain, especially in my legs, and severe dryness like dry, itchy skin, especially with my face. I do a routine for my face. If I don't do it right, it comes back dry. Back pain, dry mouth, dry eyes. Sometimes I feel like there's an air bubble in my throat. That's of lately. Or I can experience a dry cough if I'm talking too long, especially at work. I've experienced like tingling in my hands or in my forearm, especially in the morning. Sometimes I still have hot and cold episodes, but I maintain them better as that, not as it was in the beginning. Flares can be caused by stress. For me, it's probably part of my job because I work in HR, and I have been told by two different doctors that I may need to find a less stressful job. But I've been working in HR for years, so I don't know. I've done other things, part time, some other things that I have been doing. Trying to switch jobs or change careers it's a process, I'll say that. Flares could be caused by exposure to hot and or dry or cold environments. I was in Texas for years, but again, I'm born and raised in Michigan. I moved to Texas for about 13 years, and I didn't have all the symptoms till I had that incident. And also, I found on the Sjogrens Foundation website that they recommended living near like a body of water, and it's supposed to be better for people that have Sjogrens. So now where I live at now, I do live by water. The air feels better to me. It does feel better. It's just not as hot as Texas. So flares can be caused by overexertion or lack of rest. They can also be caused by medications. So I remember being in the Sjogren's group, and we found that having an antihistamine could make you flare up as well. As I have been managing my symptoms throughout the past few years, they are not the same as when I was diagnosed. They were worse then. I pretty much got to stabilize and manage. So, Charlize, how do you manage your flares? Glad you asked. I personally try not to do too many tasks around the house or run too many errands because when I do, it makes me tired. For example, like this weekend, I went to 3 stores. I was in and out though because I knew I was in and out. I knew what I was going to get. And so, but when I came back, I was tired. I felt that tiredness coming on. Just end up laying down, taking a nap. I also work from home, but I still take my breaks and I take my lunch breaks. And just remember accommodation. I'm gonna keep telling that. Get accommodation from HR. So I do have accommodation. So I still take my breaks and I take my lunch breaks. And most of the time I just rest. I may lay down on my lunch break. It just depends on what I'm doing. And I do take my breaks and I just sit on my couch because it feels better and comfortable to my body. I also take screen breaks from my computer and my cell phone. And another thing, before I had prescription for eye drops, when my eyes used to get really dry, I used to just take a cloth, run hot water, wring it out, put it on my eyes for like 15-20 minutes. It really does help. Another thing I had to do was figure out the temperature in the house so I won't get too hot because I didn't want to feel like I was feeling before when I got really hot and I passed out. So I figured out the temperature when it's cold, what to put the heat on. And then when it's hot, we had to figure out what to put the AC on. The AC robs you of your moisture too and make your eyes dry out real quick. Also being in the car as well with the windows down. I do have dry skin. I had dry skin before I was diagnosed, way before. I always had sensitive skin, dry skin, right? But I had ended up getting this weird symptom, like me in the middle of the night waking up and my foot, the bottom of my foot is itching. I'm like, what is this? So I come find out it's just dry skin, right? So what I do for my dry skin is I do use Aveeno lotion for my body, but for my feet I use shea butter, the natural organic shea butter I put on my feet. For my face I do another routine I have, and then the next video I believe I am going to show you all the things that I do use for different things, different products and over-the-counter medicines and stuff like that. I'll show that all in another video. Another thing my doctor, the rheumatologist, had recommended me was she recommended to me a heated oil massage because of the aches and pains that I'm having. She also thinks that I have fibromyalgia, but she has not done any rule out tests to determine that yet. I also recommend staying hydrated. We're told to stay hydrated. I do drink water, but it was recommended that we take sips. I don't take sips of water all day, but one thing that does do help me is cold water first thing in the morning. I also put Crystal Light or some off-brand Crystal Light in my water. And I also like ice now for some reason. The ice really hydrates me and my throat as well. It really, the little small itty bitty chips of ice really helps me keep hydrated. I don't chew on ice all day though, but I'd rather just get some cold water. And last but not least, I chew dry mouth gum. The Act gum. I found this on Amazon. I've also found this in CVS too. You can also go to the Sjogrens Foundation. They have a lot of resources for flares and everything. That's where I found the most resources from. Or again, getting in a group as well if you can. That's how I manage my flares. I hope some of these things work for you. And if you have flares, what are some things that you do? You might can give me some more ideas or some tips or something on some flares, okay? Living with Sjogrens can feel overwhelming, but remember, you are not alone. If this video encouraged you, please subscribe and join me for the rest of the series as I share more about daily life, treatment, and hope with autoimmune disease. You can watch the full Sjogrens playlist here on my channel. See you in the next video.